Excellent. Mia?
I am Mia, and I had a delicious bowl of Greek yogurt, a little bit of muesli, and some milk for breakfast.
Delicious.
Did you ever determine what the breadcrumb granola was?
No, and I don't want to know.
Leftover food from previous trips, huh? You're going through the galley?
Yeah. I thought it was granola, and it was like breadcrumbs.
Like panko breadcrumbs? Or
Yeah.
like... Oh, okay.
Good cereal.
For cereal. So maybe some people find that... And I like muesli that is non-sweet, but this was like non-sweet.
I mean, eating
different
just
level.
a bowl of fiber.
Yes.
Have you never had cornflake chicken?
No?
No, so it is a thing where you like wrap a chicken breast in cornflakes and then bake
interesting.
it.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
So,
Really?
maybe.
All right, let's get on track here. We are sitting in Eastbjorn's saloon now because Falcon is a workplace with too many people in the way. This is our refuge over here. And we just did our two-boat photo thing. So we're recording this 2 days after we recorded the pre-intro from yesterday's episode. I'm getting all confused now. But anyway, we're still in Bergen. The four of us are still together. What did it feel like, August, yesterday, to have both boats sailing literally in your backyard? I mean, we're like a mile from your house.
It was absurd. It was fantastic. It was like it was funny because it was also a lot of work and there was a lot of comms and we tried to plan everything and line everything up and there was a stress about the weather and everything. So it was pretty intense, but then like occasionally you just got these kind of mindful glimpses of what was actually going on. It's like, holy shit, this is awesome. And I think we had, I think, near perfect conditions in the end. Like we started out pretty gray and rainy, but we got the spinnakers up, and then after a while the sun came out, and we got to do a little bit of upwind stuff. And so I think just the variety in what we got to do that day turned out to be really good.
Adam, you did a reel yesterday that, I don't know, I'm pretty sure it was on purpose, where you made it look like Eastbjorn won some kind of spinnaker race. Would you please tell the truth and what actually was happening in that shot?
Well, I would say that was just an accidentally on purpose, slightly like Instagram focused thing where I just tapped on the different kind of video clips in order, and it happened that we were behind, and then we ended up in front. So
meanwhile,
I mean, call it what you will. It looked like a race. I was racing.
We had I'll tell the truth from my perspective. We had Falcon Spinnaker up. We're trying to get the boats real close together because we had a chase boat with a photographer on board, and we wanted to reset. So I had Falcon with the kite up in reverse with the engine on. You guys steamed past, and then we were kind of chasing you down. And then I dared you to leave the spinnaker up to go through the bridge, and you actually did it. I didn't think you were going to do it. And then there was this moment. Mia, talk about when we were like, Eastbjorn's going under the bridge with the kite up. We're approaching the bridge, and then what?
And we realized it's 32 meters, and 32 meters have never been a problem to go under a bridge. And we had a little quick moment of, how tall is the actual mast of Falcon? And we actually stopped.
I like
right
jammed the
before
boat in reverse, like, oh shit, we really like. I think it's fine, but we better check. And I think we determined we're somewhere around 28 meters, at least 30. We say to be safe.
We were doing the maths on board Eastbourne as well. It's like, right, someone was like, it's 100 foot, and it's like, wait, no, what? That makes no sense. Okay, so it's a 25 meter mast plus at least like 3 meters from the waterline. So you're good. You only had, but you could have only had like maybe 4 meters above you.
It looked tight. Yeah, and we were just like inching along. So it's one of those things. It's like but it worked. Mia, how did it feel? How did it feel for you being here? Because like this is on Eastbourne, literally where we started the business. And now here we are 10 years later, and here we go.
I mean, it was absolutely amazing. And I wish in one way that I also would have been on Eastbjorn so I could have seen Falcon sailing, because you and Jojo got to see both boats. But no, it was so cool to have the boats together and actually having, just like unreal almost. And then when you came over to our boat and started telling us stories, when I was a kid, I kayaked around this island and I slept on those rocks. And just like everything was just too much having it in your backyard of all places. So I think it's really fitting that first times that both boats met, it's actually here and not just in a random place, far away somewhere else.
Yeah. And to think that it was completely accidental that this happened.
Yes.
Like we didn't actually plan this. It just turned out it was fate, probably.
You noticed, like, wait a minute, Falcon's going to be in Bergen. Eastbjorn's not going to be out that time. What are we doing here? Got to get everyone together. So, all right, There's going to be a lot more to come on this thing because we haven't yet seen the photos from Tor, the photographer that you hired. Can't wait to see that. So we'll, unfortunately, Adam, do you want to describe what happened to all the beautiful content you had on your phone for Instagram?
Oh, too soon, Andy.
I think that might be too soon. I'm not emotionally capable of saying what that happened.
We
Yeah.
might have saved it, though. We'll see.
Well, fingers crossed. Some
Yeah.
data roaming thing happened, and we managed to save some of my content because I had what was my word? What did I say?
Months of content or something.
Yeah,
reels.
like reels for days.
Reels for days.
Yes.
We'll share. We all have some good
Mhm,
stuff. We'll share
mhm.
for you. Don't worry. August, do you want to tell us who you talked to for this week? Because this is another one of your episodes.
Yeah, this is another August episode, and I talked to the guys aboard Belafonte, which is a connection that you made, Adam. So thank you very much for that.
Cool.
You put us in touch. How did you know them again? Did you?
I assume that we just found each other on Instagram and just chat quite a lot. But
Yeah.
I believe because there's a Wes Anderson kind of like theme.
I was going to say, they're the guys that have like the whole... Belafonte's the name
Yeah.
of Bill Murray's ship in Life Aquatic.
Yeah.
And they have that whole... and I, as you know, I think you do too, love that.
And I think their first boat was called Zizou.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
Was
is that
it?
right? I can't. Yeah.
So
do you know,
yeah,
have you seen, we have the Zissou issued watches? I got to show you that after recording.
No.
August and I each have one. I'll get you one. It's like a thing that we bought all the staff for a
That's
while,
so
all the
cool.
skippers.
That's so
I'll get you a
cool.
bosun's version.
Okay. Sweet.
Mine died, sadly.
Well, there's a whole thing. This is going to be a tangent. Leave this in. In the Life Aquatic, you notice that Bill Murray's character is wearing a watch, and it has like a little anchor inscription and a ship's wheel, and a very cool looking watch. And then you look up what that is, and it was all very, as it is in a Wes Anderson movie, every detail's like thought out. So because Bill Murray's character was like a down his luck, poor sort of guy that never had any money, the watch is a Russian dive watch that you can buy very cheaply. Mechanical
Okay.
movement.
Yeah.
But the way the Russians made it cheap is got a plastic crown.
Right.
That's called the crown, right? What's the glass part called?
Face. No. Oh, I guess
No,
face is
the-
internal face.
Crystal,
I don't know.
plastic crystal.
We should get Mano over here to
We should, totally.
He's
But
the
anyway,
watch nerd.
and a rubber seal. So as it goes deeper underwater, since it's a curved plastic thing, it compresses against the rubber seal and gets more waterproof as you go deeper. A
Same
very
as a camera
simple
kind of thing.
way to like. So anyway, so you can buy. It's called a Vostok amphibian.
Right.
You can buy a Vostok amphibian, and they have the Zissou face. So you can buy the exact watch that Bill Murray's character wears in the movie. And I was like, I have to have that.
That's
so I bought
so cool.
myself one. I bought August one. I bought my dad one.
Are we getting the suits as well, right?
Standard issue, yeah, and the
beanies.
and the Glocks.
Nice.
Do the apprentices get Glocks?
Anyway, how was your interview with the Belafonte guys?
It was great. You know, we kept in touch for a while, and they were on their way up to Svalbard in the high Arctic, and they stopped in Bergen on their way up. So I
Spoiler,
was,
they are there.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
very true. But it was great. You know, it was one of the first interviews in a while that I got to do in person on board their boat in Bergen.
Cool.
And it was really great. Super nice guys, and a very cool boat with a lot of cool systems that they put in there, and very well prepared for the journey ahead.
Are you gonna listen? Do you listen to the podcast anymore?
Yeah, sometimes.
You do?
Sometimes.
That's how I find out what's going on.
That's how you find out what's going on.
I listen to the intros for updates.
Nice. Awesome. Cool. Anything to add about this weekend, Mia? You're going sailing to Amsterdam. You excited to get back on Falcon?
Yeah, very. I haven't been sailing since January, so yeah, really excited.
You gonna remember how to do it?
I hope so. We'll see.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks, guys. It's been such a fun week. We got sort of a few hours left tonight and half a day tomorrow, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna enjoy every moment. So thanks, guys. Until next time.
Hold fast.
Yar.
This season of the On the Wind podcast is brought to you by 59 North's very own Quarterdeck. The Quarterdeck is our membership website and 59 North's home port on the internet. It's a place where we post videos and articles and host live streams and all sorts of fun. And we have a very knowledgeable community of members there that you can be a part of. Go to 59-north.com/quarterdeck and sign up today for a 2-week free trial. We have a sizable and ever-growing archive of sailing knowledge on there that you can dig into. And you also get access to a lot of the procedures and tools that we have developed over the years at 59 North, such as checklists, maintenance protocols, logbook templates, and all kinds of goodies that we have perfected, we believe, over all the years of offshore cruising and passage making that we have done. So you will get access to editable files of all of these things, and you can download them and modify them for your own sailing needs. Becoming a Quarterdeck member is also a great way to support what we do, so that we can continue to make free sailing content for all you guys, such as this very podcast. So a huge thanks to everyone who signs up and to everybody who's already a member. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, and I hope to see you on the Quarterdeck. That's 59-north.com/quarterdeck. Welcome to On the Wind, the podcast about offshore sailing. I'm your host, August Sandberg.
Belafonte is underway on a great big sailing adventure, and I was lucky enough to meet her and her lovely crew, Julian and Peter, in Bergen. They were on their way north to Svalbard, and we had many interesting things to talk about. They recently made it to the high Arctic and are sharing their considerable experiences on aboard Belafonte on Instagram. Okay, cool. Well, Julian and Peter, thank you very much for having me aboard your boat. It's so nice to do these interviews in person and not over Zoom, and so really appreciate the fact that you guys came all the way here to Bergen to meet me.
Especially for you. Yeah, exactly. Thanks for having us. It's quite an honor.
And also, we gotta say thank you to Adam, who put us in touch. He made me aware of your trip and you guys, and so it's partly thanks to him that we're here. So that's
super cool.
Really
We've been
nice.
in contact with him through Instagram for quite some time. He's got a really nice yellow small Habergassi, smallish.
Yeah,
but super nice, and he's been quite super kind, and he offers some really great advice. And he's a bosun on.
he's the bosun of 59 North, so he's the guy who maintains and takes care of our two boats. So he's very good with any kind of boat project and any kind. He's your man. So it's very, he's quite a resource. That's cool.
Yeah, and super kind. So.
And yes, he is the best. So I think I know he wishes he was here very much, but we'll have to. He's here in spirit. We'll have to send him a nice thought. But no, it's so cool to see you guys. I understand that you've been working hard now preparing for this trip, and you've just started. Is that, when did you guys leave?
We left a little, maybe not even 3 weeks ago, I guess.
No,
on the 15th
of April. Yeah.
From Amsterdam.
Right.
And basically we were both. You had your last day at the 31st of March.
Yes.
And I was already like a month on holiday, and I quit my job. And
nice.
I did some big preparations. And the last 2 weeks before we left, we actually did a lot of stuff. So the list was long and all the essential stuff. Yeah, you're preparing for this for years, and then still it's stressful. There's so many chores and so many stuff to do. Rent out the house and fix up the house as well. So, but we left 3 weeks ago and made landfall in Stavanger and rested there for a couple of days because it was quite an intense trip. Like it took us 5 days to get from Vlieland, which is one of the Dutch isles, to Stavanger. Because there was a lot of northerlies, a lot of no wind, and a lot of wind as well. So we hove to for 12 hours as well.
Yeah. Oh wow!
So
yeah. I mean, the North Sea is no joke. It's it's tough. Like I did a full Atlantic circuit at one point, and the toughest weather I ever had was that first leg from Bergen to Vlieland, actually.
Oh, really? Cool.
It's a notorious stretch.
Yeah,
of
I guess
water,
so. Yeah.
It only gets easier now.
Yeah,
I think, but I don't know.
maybe.
That's just fun thing. Like so when you were in school, then you learn like it's the North Sea and it's quite a small sea, and it sounds rather cute or something, but it's really a bitch sometimes.
Yeah, That's
and
right.
somebody told me like if you can sail the North Sea or navigate that and cross Biscay, then you're already like 80% there on how difficult the seas can get.
I think, I think so, because it's the weather factor and like the cold and the visibility, but also the traffic and
Yeah, it's really busy. And
Yeah,
all the oil
oil rigs.
fields.
oil
I mean,
fields.
the sea is so big, but you always end up in a collision course with an oil rig. It's amazing.
Yeah.
When we hove to as well, like obviously we drifted towards an oil field, so we hove to like for I don't think like maybe 4 hours. And then we had to move the boat a little bit and then hove to again, so to get out of the way of the oil field. So
Yeah, I guess they have these. They're so paranoid out there. They have these enormous safety
Circles
buffer
around it.
zones, so you can't get anywhere
no,
close.
there were some watch ships there as well who really enforce the.
They circle around and they'll call you on the radio and tell you to get out of there. And the worst part of these the seismic survey ships. Did you guys meet
Oh, they didn't
any of
encounter
those?
that one. No.
They're horrible. There were these massive ships and they tow these seismic sonar arrays.
Okay.
So there's one boat with like a 10-mile long tow,
Really?
and they sail in this like zigzag motion just to like cover the to survey the
seabed.
seafloor, and it's so tough to navigate around.
Yeah, if you're in that course, then you're screwed.
you can't pass behind them
No.
because there's a big tow, and they always change their course. And it's.
I only had some fishing boat the way up. He asked me to change the course a little bit because he was having nets out, but it was only also 500 meters, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's not like what you said, for miles and miles of seismic gear.
No.
Yeah,
we need to look out for those.
they're quite annoying. But yeah, that's cool. Congrats on having slipped your lines, and
finally.
people say that's the hardest part. Just leaving.
I think it is. I mean, if you looked at the list of stuff we had to do, it kept on growing, and you see more stuff, and then we had to decide now this is it. We are now ready to go, and some small chores we can do on our way, because it's really difficult. And also the social part. We had a big farewell party, and then we had some people also on the dock say goodbye, and you had a work event to say goodbye. So it's
a lot of goodbyes, and that gets tiresome as well. And at one point you want to do that because you want to, I don't know, say your goodbyes, and on the other one hand you really feel like someone, okay, let's go already. And then
let's sneak out of here.
Let's sneak out of here, because like you get a lot of questions like, so when are you leaving, when are you arriving? It's all about time, but it's difficult for people who don't sail that to understand, like, so it isn't really like an exact science, like, so okay, we're gonna arrive at that time at that date to your destination or leave. Like, it's always weather dependent or the state of your boat, or so that's quite interesting. But it really felt like a big relief to push off and then really like get the feeling that we're fucking do this. Like it's I don't know if I'm allowed to swear, but
oh no, that's fine. I mean, it's a sailing podcast.
Okay, that's good. So no, it is quite like okay, we're gonna go. Our trip will take us 1.5 years. So it's quite a long time off, and really like to experience the feeling that okay, we're doing this, and this is going to be our place to stay for the next 18 months. It's quite like
it took a while to let it sink in. I think last week, or maybe at the Anchorage Pilapollen, maybe quite close by here. It was such a beautiful anchorage spot, and I thought, this is the feeling. Now I know I'm gone.
Yeah.
I mean, after the crossing of the North Sea, we had to get our bearings in Stavanger, so I was still busy with all kinds of stuff in my head. But now it feels like we're really off.
Yeah. And it feels like we need to find out a business model to keep on doing this for as long as we can. I can get used to this. Although,
Easily.
Work is nice as well, and but still.
That's good.
It's,
You're
it's
already in adventure mode. That's
But it feels a little bit
That's
still
great.
like holiday. Like I think the longest holiday we took was 5 weeks, and I think once we're past that point, then it feels like more like a voyage or like cruising instead of. But it's nice to not be. Normally, when we would be on holidays, then this would be the time we're already thinking about heading back, looking at the weather, like when can we get back, and now it's like open ended, and we need to get up north, and we have a time frame, but still it's more relaxed.
That's very nice. Yeah. So tell me about your about the route, because you have a pretty planned out route, right?
And pretty ambitious as well.
Right on.
Yeah.
As it should be.
Somebody asked us, like, do you have foils beneath your boat? So
when we were planning it, it felt quite doable and not over ambitious. But when we talked to people about our routes, they said, "Oh wow, you really are on a schedule then." But it doesn't feel like that yet.
No.
You can.
We decided like so on the normal Atlantic loop would take us a year. And Peter is off from his work for 1.5 years. That's a maximum amount of time. So we thought like, what should we do like in that half year? And we went to Norway before one time when we only got to Haugesund and Rover. That's the north we got, and then we decided like, it would be awesome to sail up the Norwegian coast and to Svalbard. That is basically June, July-ish when we reach Svalbard, and spend a couple of weeks there. Then hop down the Norwegian coast as well, and then probably go to the Shetlands, between Scotland and Ireland, cross down, and then we need to decide what we're going to do. Either we go from Ireland directly to Madeira. If we're short on time, it's a big crossing, but we heard that we're gonna like avoid Orca territory as well, and it's an advantage. It's a good practice for a bigger passage. Or we're gonna move on to A Coruña, like in northern Spain, and Rias, because it's supposed to be really nice as well. But depends a little bit on the time frame. And then from there, Canaries, then to Cape Verde. We've got some friends there who have a mooring just in front of an apartment they own, so that's good. So we're gonna do some surfing there, and then we're gonna cross probably in November.
Beginning of December.
Beginning of December. We're gonna cross the Atlantic to Suriname, and then hop up through the Caribbean. We have to be a little bit selective of the islands we were gonna do because we want to head up north after that as well. So probably Dominica, we heard like really great stories about that, culture-wise and nature-wise, and we're still
maybe some of the Dutch isles. Like
Saba,
and
Statia.
Cool.
It's difficult.
Sint Maarten, of course.
That is usually for provisioning.
Yeah,
I don't think it's really like that interesting of an island, but it's handy.
Yeah.
And the French part, you can get wine and cheese, so that's good.
Nice.
we've heard.
Yeah, and then we plan to we're gonna leave the Caribbean somewhere in April, I guess, before hurricane season, obviously. But then from the Bahamas, we're gonna go to New York, so that's another big passage. And
in one go.
Probably in one go. Yeah.
Probably.
Depends a little bit like on how we feel our pace is going. Maybe if we feel like we're rushing things, then we slow it down. So the whole plan is quite flexible, but you have to have a plan, I guess.
That's right.
And then from New York, we're gonna move up the U.S. coast and Canada, Newfoundland, Greenland, Iceland, Faroe Islands,
and then
back home in October
25.
Right on.
Yeah.
I will knock on the door of my employer and say, "Hey, I'm back again."
Like 1 October to 25 is a Wednesday, right?
I don't know. Is it a Wednesday? Okay.
I looked it up.
You've actually, it's a big red circle on that date calendar. That's your limit.
They're probably a little bit flexible, but still.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
But not for months. It's more like we.
Yeah.
I guess. Wow,
So-
that's
That's
that is
the plan.
a very good plan. Very exciting, and you're just at
think
the
so.
at the start now.
Yeah, we're only in Bergen.
only agreed so far. Well, it's
No, but
a good start.
It's already been nice. I mean, we have some nice anchorages already the way up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a. You are so blessed with your country side and your coast. It's so beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, you've only you have yet the best part in store as you go further north.
Wow.
So I hope
We heard.
We'll,
So
enjoy
It will not disappoint.
I don't think so. Yeah, tell me a little bit about your boat. It's a very cool, distinct boat, and you told me when I came aboard that you spent some time looking for the perfect boat. Did you already have did you have this schedule and adventure in mind, and you were looking for a boat that fit that, or was it the other way around? Or
Well, I think we 10 years ago we bought our first boat, and it was a 30-foot gypsy, like a GRP, and quite a sporty boat, and that basically was our gateway boat. We first sailed it on the inner sea, the IJsselmeer in the Netherlands. Used to be a sea, but it's got a huge dike to close it off from the sea. That was the first year, and then the second year we went to the Dutch Isles, and then the third year we did our first crossing to England. This was a 24-hour crossing, and then we thought okay, we can do this. Then 3 months later we decided to go to Norway in one go, from Vlieland again to Egersund.
yeah,
So that was nice, and we just
It
went
was
to
nice, but it was also
challenging.
because again the North Sea with some thunderstorms, etc. And we did trust the boat. I mean, it was a sturdy boat, but it felt a little bit like
Nervous.
yeah.
It was fast.
See the boat moving in the storms, and some parts broke.
Yeah, we had a small smeltering electric wire. Like all of a sudden we were sailing we could already see the Norwegian coast, and then Peter said there's smoke coming out of the. So fuck. So we were there with a fire blanket and something, but it was I don't know what it was.
The relay broke.
Relay broke and
it was overcharging cable.
But it was quite scary. And then we tried to start the motor, and that it didn't work because we probably got some air in it, and but then we approached the coast. We got 4G, so we immediately called a friend. So we didn't really know what we were doing at that point. And he said okay, loosen those nuts and keep on starting, because we were thinking you can flood a diesel engine as well, but it turns out you can only flood a gas engine.
right.
So pretty newbie.
Yeah,
But the engine started, and we were able to enter Egersund. So
cool.
But then we really liked that, and we thought okay, we want to keep on doing this, and we started to discover this first YouTube channels of people doing big voyages, and really it occurred to us okay, people do this, and it can be done. So we thought we would like to do this, but on a more sturdier boat and a little bit bigger boat. So that's why we started the search for a steel boat. Aluminium would be nice as well, but that's a little bit out of our budget, I guess. And Dutch steel boats are well
Usually
built, or
pretty-
can be
yeah.
well built.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Dutch is the Dutch are quite renowned for building solid boats, aren't they? At least in my my impression.
Yeah, you have
Especially
some,
metal, like aluminum and steel boats. They're quite well known.
KM Yacht Builders is really well known, and Noordkaper, and Koopmans is really for Dutch people it's a well known designer. And the guy who designed this boat worked for Koopmans as well, and it's got quite classic lines.
All right, cool.
Yeah, but.
Do you guys know the Hutting?
Hutting.
Hutting.
Yeah.
Really nice.
I've been
as well.
trolling over those.
Yeah.
Quite nice.
Yeah. Price wise, you always think they're engineered and built by PhD because they're unaffordable. They're so fucking expensive, but they're absolutely beautiful. Yeah. But then during I think. a night we were traveling by train from Amsterdam to Utrecht. We were a little bit drunk, and then you were looking at like a boat vending site, and then you came across.
We had a list of things that we really wanted on the boat, and I was surfing the web a little bit, and there was a little bit of an obscure site where they sell boats, not the big sites, and this might be interesting, but the photos were quite unclear, and
it were pictures of pictures. So there were like pictures of printed pictures with the date on it.
But the stats looked really good, although it was a little bit too small because we wanted a little bit bigger boat. But
3740.
Yeah, and then the owner, we contacted the owner, and he was abroad, and we said, yeah, but you can go. It's there on the Heart, and you can take a look. My daughter will be there. But she doesn't have a key. You cannot look inside. But now we climbed up on the deck, and we said, "Wow, this is it! So well maintained. It was just amazing." We immediately fell in love, and that's a bad thing, of course, if you're going to buy a boat. But
dangerous.
But we looked at so many different boats. We actually just got back from Den Helder to look at the Caribbean 40, and for the second time, and we were sitting in the side of the boat and looking around, and then just the feeling wasn't there. Luckily we didn't buy it because we know the guy who bought it, and he put in so much work in it, and he was a welder and stuff, and he almost it was a little bit more than he could chew, and that would have been
too much for us. Yeah.
And so like we saw the rigging and the detailing, and we had it surveyed as well. Because it's a one-off, so basically we know people who have like a 31 foot.
Those were more. The 31 foots, I think 80 of them were built of this type of boat.
Okay.
But this bigger one, only one was built, and this is this one.
Yeah.
And what is the 31 foot called?
Brewijd 31, and this is Brewijd 35.5. So it's a 35.5 foot, and we actually met like the first time we did our English crossing. We saw like a Brewijd 31. Lying there, we became good friends with those, and
really charming
boats, and then we thought like, okay, wouldn't it be nice if there was a slightly bigger version, and then we kept on looking, and there wasn't until you find one.
Until you found the only one in existence.
Only one.
Yeah, really. Yeah,
that was for sale also.
Because the designer already drew the designs, but in that time, this boat is from 1992, and nobody. It was a big boat then. So nobody wanted to have it built, so he said like, I've got all the plans ready, and I made some slight alterations. I think it went from a full keel to a semi-full keel, so we have a rudder on a hung skeg, or skeg hung rudder, I want to say, and it's a big keel, but not a full keel, and the 31 has a full keel.
Okay.
So we it was wharf built, the hull, and the hull was
it's galvanized, so
galvanized.
It really prevents a lot of rust.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
it's only some spots we have to touch, but if you open the bilge or whatever, there is no rust. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Not bad.
No, it's for steel boats are obviously notorious for rusty spots, but ours is quite well.
Not bad.
And the owner, he did the interior himself. So he did all the cabinetry, so it was really precise, and
not bad.
For a self-built boat, it really looks.
It looks apart. I think so.
Yeah, that's really. Wow, that's a lucky strike. Or often when you hear when you hear the one-off, often that might mean that somebody built the boat in their backyard.
It can be a little shoddy. They spent 3 years on it because he built it to sail solo around the world. But then he put his whole family through like a 3-year boat build, and he said like, okay, I can't leave for 3 years now.
By myself.
So he had kids and obviously a wife as well. But but they did a lot of trip to the Nordics. They spent the summer of a whole year in Tromsø.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So the whole boat is isolated also. So it's
perfect.
It's almost a perfect boat. Yeah, we consider it a little bit like our sailing tank. It's not that fast, but it's really sturdy.
Yeah. And not super slow either. So it's okay. We got a big mast and a lot of sail. So
Perfect.
Yeah, it's cutter rigged. So you have 2 sails in the front.
Yeah.
We got a Yankee and
there's a Yankee and a normal.
latch on jib.
Yeah. Very cool. Was the metal boat, was that because you knew you were going to heading up into Svalbard and up into the ice, or was that more of a...
Well, I guess so. Like
maybe in the back of our minds. I guess it's not. I mean, we wanted a sturdy boat, so steel was an option. And we also looked at different kind of materials.
Like the thicker built like GRP boats, but then you venture into the realm of Najats and Habergassis, and the price goes up way then. So you have to really buy like a really older boat in which like when GRP was quite new and they're built like super thick because I didn't really know the material.
Yep.
So and steel felt safe, but on the other hand, like when we looked at like 20 boats and there was like rust everywhere, and then the guy who's selling it said, put some oil in the bilge and just sail around, and then the rust will
rusting.
Okay.
Come on.
Great advice.
Wow, so easy.
So we felt lucky because we had our surveyor. He also did our previous boat. Surveyed it when we bought it.
He was a circumnavigator and a nautical engineer. So
and when he stepped aboard, he said, "I think you are really lucky, guys." So it felt really good.
Yeah. He said, like, I know at least 4 people who are looking for the exact same boat, and they are willing to pay way more than you are.
Nice.
So that was nice. And the owner or the guy who sold it to us, like, he was a little bit like, okay, you really wanted to have it surveyed because he was really super proud of his boat.
Oh.
But then they were both engineers.
He was almost offended that we want to survey it.
However, within 3 minutes of him being on board, like they really spoke the same language, and the surveyor said like, why do you have it built like that? Is it like nobody has it done like that because it's way too expensive? And they I wanted it this way. So he really said like, you find like a good boat, a great boat. So we felt lucky then as well.
Yeah, perfect. But then you did quite a bit of work to the boat. Even so, you had a bit of prep to do.
Yeah.
In the end, I mean, it was almost ready to go.
It said in the report as well. Yeah. It's nearly like a cruiser-ready boat.
Yeah. but then we became the owners, and I don't know. It just happened. We started the V-berth. There were 2 bunk beds, and we made it one. And we started with a whole new instrument panel and
the wiring.
The wiring, and it kept on going.
Yeah,
sounds quite familiar, I guess, for many sailors. But
and the heads, the previous owners were really, they drank coffee, water, and tea, so they didn't feel the need
quite
for
modest
for cold drinks. Yeah, and they ate a lot of canned food. So we have like a compartment that can be like reconverted as a fridge, but if you add insulation and a compressor, then probably you have like 2 wine bottles standing straight up, and that's basically it. Would be nice as well, but. So we ripped out the cabinets in the heads and put there 2 times 40 liters fridge freezers in it. So it's a little bit unconventional, but you can have a
convenient
while having a beer.
Great. Yeah.
So it works. So I don't know if it's like if we ever sell the boat, if people say like, I see the benefit of this, or like, okay, what were they thinking? But no, it works for us. So so we got
and we added a lot of solar power and wind power and a whole new deck tent. That it's like a bimini, but you can extend it, so you have this whole.
It can be a full cockpit enclosure.
Yeah.
So unlucky, like our traveler is in the cockpit, so we can't use it like when sailing. So that's a little bit of a downside, but
But still,
the hard Dodger we have, it's not made of steel. It's made of like wood.
Yeah, it was
epoxy.
added later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it can't really like it isn't strong enough to without reinforcement to put the traveler on. That might be something we might do in the future if we keep this boat.
Right.
Then you have a full cockpit enclosure because it's nice.
It's nice, when you're going up into the high latitudes.
Exactly.
It can be quite practical
Yeah.
You'll find.
Yeah.
Probably, maybe you want to do some on-the-fly modifications as you head down into the tropics.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Bimini will be.
Bimini will be
It's,
nice.
it's really good. Like
Sun,
yeah,
so.
and what we had the Bimini made by a woman. She was 70. She is 70, well in her 70s, and she traveled cruised the Mediterranean and the Caribbean for 40 years, and she paid her way making doing canvas work. So we found her through her harbor neighbors, and basically we started out with the Bimini, and then she said if you're going to go high up, then you need full cockpit enclosure, but it would be nice to have that in the tropics as well, because
the wind
when the sun drops, then it's still scorching you in the face. So the side flaps, they have this semi-translucent covers as well that block 50% of the sun. So even in the tropics,
she put
really
all
nice.
her experience, 40-year experience, in this tent.
Yeah.
It's just
Wow.
amazing. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty nifty. So
You don't see many enclosures in they're very common in here in Norway and further north, but rarely ever see them in the tropics.
No.
Maybe
And
you
she was a
guys
big
will
fan of
start
it
a
because
trend.
she said, you can block the sun because sometimes you get tired of the sun. So
or maybe it was a
Yeah.
great setup. I don't know.
We'll see.
No, she's really a sweet
that's
lady.
not. She's not that kind of lady.
So no. She was, and she used all the stitching is super UV resistant. She said all the Dutch canvas workers, they use it's a business model. Within 5 years it's got to be eaten up by UV, and then you have to restitch it. And now she's used stuff that probably goes on for at least 10 years. So that's good. And it's nice to have a thing with a story.
Yeah, that's nice.
Because it's a little bit asymmetrical as well. And after she did this, she had her eyes done because she had and then she said I didn't realize how bad I saw. But still, so some of the windows are
It's a bit quirky, but it's nice.
That's great. It's like the the best jazz musicians put a little imperfections in there just to make it
adds
sound more
character.
human. And, that's I love that. That's great.
Yeah. And what we did to the interiors, for the heads, we had a door, but to close up the V-berth and the back cabin, we didn't have we had curtains, and that curtains were already demolished the first time we had a kid of a friend on board because he fell through one of the windows and just just ripped it out.
Through the deck.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then he ripped out the pole on which the curtain was attached. So
That saved him.
Wow.
So we had a friend of ours who was a carpenter made the doors, so that's nice. And when the previous visitors, they came a couple of times to visit the boat, and they
Previous owners,
the
you mean?
previous previous owners. And the first time thing she said "Oh, you have doors." So I guess she wanted those as well.
Nice.
But
They look really great. They look really well done.
Yeah.
Perfect. Was the stove still in, or did you guys?
The stove was already in. I think they put it in when they
Went to Tromsø, I
Went to
guess.
Tromsø. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they used a little bit of the bench, but took it away, of the couch. Yeah. But the Newport is really it's a really nice and warm heat without getting too toasty, and the flames are really
It
pretty.
has atmosphere.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it
no,
doesn't really use up that much diesel. So and we've got a small ventilator on it, like a Peltier ventilator that basically moves on the difference between heat and cold.
Yeah.
So it disperses the heat quite nicely. And,
Perfect.
yeah. So
and don't use any power or anything, right? So
it's got a ventilator, but we hardly ever use it.
You don't really have to use it.
Oh, it does.
Yeah,
have
it's
a-
on the
Yeah.
side, when you see a small knot, and then if it doesn't really burn, I think maybe
can-
when it's blowing
right.
outside quite a lot, then you can turn it up.
I
But we
see.
hardly ever
But
use
you
it.
don't have to use it a lot. No. So
Yeah.
it doesn't use any power.
Hmm.
Oh.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's gonna serve you well on up in Svalbard. I think.
I think so.
It'll be
Yeah.
nice. What part of your journey are you most excited about, or are there any special places where you're particularly keen to go?
I think Svalbard. It's really. I mean, it sounds so mystical, so adventurous, and what you can see on the television or YouTube or whatever, it looks spectacular. So it's really our kind of landscape, I guess.
Yeah, that's basically, we're really into the northern landscape, and like it almost feels like we have to pass through the Caribbean to get there. So we went to like a meeting with all Dutch sailors who are planning a big trip this year, and it's organized by a big sailing magazine in the Netherlands, and basically everybody goes like from IJmuiden to the left, so to the south.
To the south.
And we were one of the only ones who were heading up north, but really like if I have two pictures in front of me, and one is like the Norwegian coast, rocky with pines and stuff, and the other one is like a bounty island with a palm tree, like my heart goes racing for really like the pines and the rocky and so yeah, and Svalbard really speaks to the imagination.
Absolutely.
Like the wildlife, obviously, and the adventurous part of it. Like it's a little bit scary as well, because you start reading about it and you really have to be self-sufficient.
And you really have to know what you're doing there.
Yeah. And that sometimes feels a little bit daunting, like what if your engine breaks? Luckily you're a sailboat, so you can always sail, but still it's either really windy or no wind at all. What we heard.
True. That's true. Yeah.
But that's nice to have like a flexible rig and a flexible sail plan. So even in like the boat can take a lot of wind. So, and we have storm sails, and I think we were quite prepared for that. And we encountered some nasty weather on our way up, but on previous trips as well. Like during Corona, we went to France. And then there was some 6 before predicted, but then it turned out it peaked at 48 knots. So that was pretty, And we later learned that because there was little flight traffic, then the pilots
due to Corona,
due to Corona, that usually pilots like a radio in the weather. But now the forecast was really so, because we checked like 5 weather apps, and it was like windy but not overly windy. However, other people said like, so we checked an app, and so are they sailing into that weather? So, but I don't know which app they used. But but then again, like we reefed early, and we hove to, I guess
Also,
as well, because we didn't really know what the weather was. Yeah, if it turns from 30 to 48 and it keeps on blowing, then you don't know where it's going to end. So we took the secure way, I guess. So and it's a nice practice too.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Wow. But Svalbard, really nice.
But I'm also looking for. I'm looking forward to meeting our friends in the Cape Verde Islands. So they have this apartment there in this bay, and that we can put our anchor there, and we go with our little boat to the beach, and there they are with gin tonics, saying hi. I mean, that's a really nice.
Yeah, it is, and Suriname as well. Like it's a former Dutch colony. Right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of Dutch, like people who make the crossing, a lot of Dutch go to Suriname. I don't think a lot of other, maybe French go to French Guiana, but I don't think like a lot of Norwegian people go, for instance, to Suriname. And you can basically the first harbor is really up the river.
So after this blue ocean, you get in this really muddy, tropical brownish river. I mean, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, you sail straight into the jungle basically. Yeah. So you can take your dinghy out, and there's a lot of mazes with all these kind of creeks and stuff. So it's got to be interesting as well.
Yeah.
So
cool.
So and the sailing into New York is going to be quite a view, I guess.
It's quite something. Yeah, it's nice to have the Statue of Liberty there, and
you can anchor somewhere close, right?
You can anchor just out there, and that is quite, especially if you do it as you said, like in one big passage up, and because you're so isolated out in the ocean, and then
suddenly you're in New York. I mean, there can't be a bigger contrast. Though.
Exactly. Civilization just like hits you in the face. Like, it's
like a full culture shock. But that's the nice thing about sailing as well, isn't it? Like when you can like really go for the peace and quiet, like a nice anchorage, and then all of a sudden you're in the city. Or
although we didn't tie up to the Briggen part, it was too loud on Saturday.
In Bergen, in Bergen, like and a lot of motorboats with boom boxes turned on 150% volume, and a lot of drunk people, which is nice, but like not when you're trying to sleep, I guess, and people are gonna move over your boat to get to their boat. It doesn't really, So
That's the spring has just arrived in Bergen, and everybody on the nice
On the
weather
bender.
weekend like this, everybody was it's
it's
weird.
a
like
really
lot of,
beautiful, beautiful weekend. The weather is. I mean,
it's been really.
we
nice.
read it was always raining in Bergen, but it's sunshine everywhere.
You've been lucky.
Okay.
Yeah, we
quite
heard.
lucky. Yeah. But no, it's like a lot of especially motorboats around in the area, kind of. So like that's what that's their idea of a fun weekend in the boat, is to go into the city and and get drunk and play loud
Music.
I think we probably would do it as well when we would be motorboat owners and after a long winter. But
yeah. So it was a little bit of unfortunate timing for you guys.
a little bit of
part,
rowdy, but it's nice to like we walked past it and it was great fun. So Bergen is a cool city. So
yeah, it's not too bad. Biased, of course. Here, but
yeah. And what we're looking forward to as well is Iceland. I think we decided to buy our first boat when we went to like a round trip in Iceland 2.5 weeks. And then we were in the West Fjords, and then we were standing on top of a fjord, and we saw a tiny speck.
We did some hiking. I think near Isafjord. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we saw like a tiny speck, and it was a sailboat, and then we thought like, wouldn't it be amazing to sail here? And then we got back from the holiday, and we started looking for a boat, and then I think a couple of months later we bought
Our first boat.
Zizou. Yeah.
Oh wow! So that was the trigger for the whole,
really. So if we come
right.
into I don't know if we were going to make it to the West Fjords, but it would be great to sail there instead
Make
of
the circle complete.
Yeah, that would be a full circle moment to like where the dream or the sailing dream basically originated, and to make it on your own keel. That would be good.
Yeah, you can put your boat in that anchorage, and you can hike the mountain and look. Oh man!
That would be something. So, but maybe like we won't make it to the West Fjords and go to Reykjavik, for instance. But Iceland is good enough already. Like it's a good enough full circle for us.
It's a cool spot. So that'll be the summer of 2025 then.
Yeah, summer 25.
September-ish. I think we aim to be in Greenland somewhere in August, July, August, and then we fairly have to we probably won't be doing like a circumnavigation of Iceland. That's too short of time. Yeah. But and then from there Faroe Islands, because then it's already getting in September, October-ish. So in October you have to work. And the weather is going to change quite quickly then as well. So
start of October. That's kind of when you might get storms come in. So that's probably.
And nowadays you don't really know what the weather does. Like a really strong hurricane season is expected as well. I think the weather is probably like off a little bit everywhere. So
seems like
there's Bergen. So
it seems something's not quite right. That's true. So You guys have a lot of gear on the foredeck. Was that a surfboard up there or something?
Oh no, that's our porta boat. It's a foldable dinghy.
Oh, okay, really?
Yeah,
nice.
It's from hard plastic, so it can stand some rocks.
Okay.
I don't know if they can stand an ice bear.
It's supposed to be indestructible. So the whole weight is lighter than water, so it floats.
Okay.
We have an 8 horsepower Yamaha, so I don't know if it floats with that.
That's pretty.
It floats with that, but like especially when you spring a leak or when water enters the boat, then it still remains buoyant because there's foam on the side as well.
Okay.
Because we wanted a hard bottom dinghy, but we didn't want to have a full boat on deck. So this was like a little bit of a compromise. So it's an American-made foldable boat. So it's 3 meters. A little bit over 3 meters long.
It's quite spacious.
Yeah, and quite wide.
Yeah,
interesting. And we can set it up in maybe 10 minutes.
10-15 minutes.
Yeah. And just fold it out like on the deck, and then hoist it in the water, and then put the outboard on. And it planes really quickly. So with an 8 horsepower with 2 people, it really planes as well.
Not bad.
Yeah, and it feels a little bit like it's weird feeling because it's a little bit of a waterbed at the bottom. So
it feels kind of
sucks to the water, so you feel that and like okay, what's happening? But it's a good compromise for us. And before we bought it, we reached out to a lot of cruisers who went really to like a more really more challenging places. And they owned like hard bottom dinghies and soft bottom dinghies, and they really said like, I wouldn't go back anymore. But a lot of people think it's ugly and it can't be right because everybody has an inflatable. But this is
That works for us.
Yeah, I gotta give that a closer look afterwards. It looked sounds interesting.
And,
you guys are really going for the indestructible
Absolutely.
tank.
That's us.
Yeah, it needs to be foldable because we're a small boat, and it needs to be indestructible. So that's why it's basically space saving at the same time. So
it was quite small. So that's
it really folds up like I think it's maybe at max 20 centimeters wide. And 50 meters high, 50 centimeters high, and that's basically how it almost looks like a surfboard.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
So that's
And you've
cool.
got like these plastic benches, which are like basically light and hollow, but you basically put them in between, and they keep the holes from collapsing. So it's weird, and we've got a lot of people like coming up to us, who already knew about it, or but the first time they saw it in the flesh.
It always attracts some attention.
Yeah.
If you tie it up somewhere. Yeah.
I bet. What was the name of it?
Porta boat.
Porta boat.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a German version as well, like a banana boat, but it's symmetrical, so it really looks a little bit like a banana. But it's got this has got
marketing-wise, it's a good name, though.
Yeah, but the transit.
It doesn't sound very indestructible.
No.
It sounds
No.
more like a goofy.
And the story is that basically the guy from Germany visited the American factory because the porta boat is already 40 years being made, and then he basically borrowed the concept.
Borrowed.
But the difference is here that we have the transom is straight, so it folds out, but it doesn't it's how do you call it? Yeah, it's straight and not it doesn't go into a tip or something. And the banana boat is a little bit more like a
banana.
Yeah. But it's easy. Like it can take like an 8 horsepower 2-stroke engine, and it goes like the wind. So yeah.
It's not a bad idea. I've heard of people up in the Svalbard, they take their dinghy ashore and they go off on some adventure, and then they come back and lots of big curious animals.
So with tusks and claws.
I mean, I don't know if it can resist that, but still, it's better than an inflatable dinghy.
For sure.
I think if we bring enough duct tape and a polar bear goes really wild on it, we can still duct tape it up.
Because they're floating, like the
it's
pieces
floating,
are floating.
yeah.
So we can still go. And we got this not flotation suits, but not dry suits, flotation suits maybe more. Like these Fladen ones that we use for fishing. We wore them on the way here up. Like it's super toasty. It's like an overall. Nice. It's really convenient as well. So that's nice, and we can maybe float to the boat. But maybe we're thinking of like buying like a small inflatable to put in a canister. Yeah. In case something happens, or maybe actually buy dry suits. I don't know, but
well, the Fladen suits, the flotation suits are pretty good. It's quite nice. Sweet.
Yeah.
Are you do you guys have are you going to have some time in Svalbard to like sail around and explore and do some
I think we
adventuring
have
or
4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks. Planned for that.
All right.
Yeah. So we want to go all the way up to the.
You did the whole itinerary.
The Liefdenfjord. Is that like it's northwestish, right?
Yeah, you go around like the northwestern corner and then a little bit east.
So that's the farthest we plan to go, but I don't know distance wise and time wise if we're gonna make that. But we want to venture outside as well. So. We got our whole permits, and we got I did some shooting courses in the Netherlands, or we did, and applied for because so we applied for that, and we applied for to visit the old whaling stations in Vicohamna.
Yeah. Vicohamna.
And they're old Dutch whaling stations, because it's funny to learn that there's a lot of Dutch history of there is.
History.
So a lot of sailors from the old went there for whaling or just discovering, I guess.
In Dutch we don't call it Svalbard, we call it still Spitsbergen.
Yeah. So there's a lot of Dutch names as well. So
that's right. I think there's a bit of a dispute there between the Dutch kind of
mean that it was discovered by the Dutch.
Barents,
was
yes,
the one
yes.
who,
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
the
that's what
first
we
one
learn at
to-
school.
Yeah. We of course learned that it was the Vikings.
Ah,
of course, yeah.
Makes sense.
But yeah, no, a lot of Dutch history and names. Smerenburg is
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
right
Smerenburg.
there. That's
Yeah.
Dutch, right? And
Yeah.
and Liefdefjord is also
Liefde,
Dutch.
liefde is love in Dutch.
Lovefjord.
Yeah. So I
Perfect.
don't know what happened there, but yeah.
Yeah, it's well, yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
But no, so that's gonna be fun, like to visit all those whaling stations, because I think they have like names of Dutch cities. Like one is called Delft, and it's a city in the Netherlands, and I think the whaling stations are named after Dutch cities. So yeah,
Cool.
so it's gonna be fun to see those rusty remnants
For sure.
of an ancient
Ancient
industry,
times, yeah.
which luckily ended because whaling isn't really the most sustainable.
True.
Yeah, but it's gonna be interesting to see that. So we're gonna travel all the way up the coast and anchor there. Yeah, basically what you can't really tie up.
Yeah, no, there's no docks anymore.
So we got a lot of a lot of change. We have got 70 meters. We were stainless chain, so it should be 100 meters would have been better maybe, but well.
You'll be.
I think with 70
you'll
we'll be fine.
Yeah.
The anchoring is, it's very unforgiving in many ways up in Svalbard, but the anchoring is very good.
Okay.
Like there's great holding, many places where you can tuck away and hide from bad weather, and so there's some really
Sounds good.
good anchorages.
Yeah,
so.
because if you look at the maps, then like some anchorages are indicated, but it really feels like you have to be there and you can't go anywhere else because it's, I don't know, bad grounds or. But we learned that you can be quite flexible, like when you just have to use a little bit common sense and be on the lookout every time, like on anchor watch which helps that it's light 24 7. So
That helps a lot. Yep.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, and it's very poorly charted too. So many of the little bays and stuff. There's no charts, so you'll have to proceed very carefully.
Yeah. And that's why
that's
that's nice to have steel as well. Like so, okay, just do a couple of knots and still you don't want to hit anything. But if you do, then it's you don't spring a leak easily.
That's true.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you guys will be okay up there. So, are you gonna rent rifles then or guns in?
Yes, we're gonna rent there in Longyearbyen.
So that'll be your first
stop.
Destination.
Maybe we will anchor first after the crossing, maybe in the south a little bit.
Yeah, or maybe visit Bear Island when it's not too Björnoja.
Oh yeah.
When it's not too misty or stormy or that would be nice as well. But then probably
Then we will head up to Longyearbyen quite fast. I guess.
Because we need to get the guns to venture out of what is it, Management Area 10.
Yeah. That's right.
Sounds like a science fiction novel.
Sounds very that's right. It's,
So we first have to pick up the guns and I guess like prove we have proper search and rescue insurance, and then
And I think you need to prove that you've had your training, firearms training.
Yeah,
and,
I think that's part of the application process. So I got the like a stamp of approval of the shooting range that I have shot the guns once.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it should be good.
So that should be enough. Yeah, great.
Maybe we need to buy a signal gun there. We don't have that on board. We got that device that would be pretty good, because we have like emergency fireworks, but that doesn't really make any sound, or it's difficult to aim, like as a first warning to for polar bears. But I guess we can get it there.
Or
maybe in Tromsø.
Yeah. You need some permits to buy those as well, I think.
Okay.
But you can look into it. It's a good idea to have some of that, so that you don't have to go straight to
that's a way last resort, and hopefully we'll never have to even touch it or load it. Fully load it, I must say. So no, we're going to be really like careful when we venture on shore, and first take our binoculars and search the coast, and then it would be like a last thing we want to do. So
yeah, very true. Perfect. Yeah, no, that's. I'm glad you guys are taking some time up there. It's a very cool place, and kind of the like next year there's these new rules.
Yeah, we heard that it's going to be way more stricter.
So it's going to be way more strict. So you guys are really
perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, luckily.
That's nice.
Because we had the plans like a little bit like early as well, but then Corona happened and or COVID happened, and I think the boat wasn't
postponed
really,
a little bit.
Yeah, the boat wasn't really that like to that level that we wanted it to be. So it's good that it all comes together, and we didn't postpone it a year later because we heard I don't know what the regulations will change, but like the distance you have to keep away from animals, and maybe the amount of ships that can visit in a year. I don't know.
I think the amount of ships are the same, but the distance to animals and birds and the places where you can go ashore. And it's quite restricted.
Yeah, and obviously you keep your distance from animals, anyways. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing to do anyway. Yeah. Good, solid advice. But that was a good timing there. That'll be fun for sure.
So we'll have to see. But still, it's still flexible. So we plan to move up the Norwegian coast pretty fast. Like so, we're gonna be between Bergen and Lofoten. We're probably not gonna do that many stops. Maybe on the way back we can do that like if time permits. But we heard like Lofoten is obviously nice, but Senja is really.
Senja is very nice.
It's really pretty and maybe a little bit less touristy.
Yeah, I'd say Lofoten is. It's just really gorgeous, beautiful place.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of, especially in like the summer months, it gets quite busy up there. So, and I'd say Senja, Vesterålen, just north of Lofoten.
Okay.
Is almost as pretty and really just a fraction of the tourists.
Wow. Okay. That's great advice because we like people, but not too but not too many.
Yeah, not Bryggen on a Saturday.
No.
It can kind of some of the places in Lofoten can get like that. In
In
the height of summer,
maybe
it can. I've never been to Reine in the summertime, but like Svolvær and Henningsvær. It's like super crazy party towns.
Really?
Yeah.
In the summer, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's interesting, but
might be fun for a night, but
maybe for a night it's fine.
But not the whole full Lofoten experience to be like a 24/7 party place.
That's true. But it gets as you get further west, it's a lot. The places get smaller and you have less tourists. And I was just returned from there last week. So I spent a week sailing around in Lofoten on Isbjørn last week. So I was.
But it's out of season still, I guess.
Yeah.
You anchored at the Trollfjorden then.
We did.
That
you should. I would go through there. That's a really cool place.
Okay.
It's very very nice. There's several ways you can pass through Lofoten, but through that sound or by Trollfjorden, that's really
that's
special.
highly recommended.
So
we have to add some crosses to the map then later on.
Oh yeah. We should get the map out afterwards, and I'll make some crosses for you guys. Cool. No, that's this sounds like an amazing adventure, and I love how you guys have like really. You're just going all in. It seems to be kind of like the old school way of doing it. I feel like now a lot of people, they go sailing, they go cruising, but they kind of they sail for a month and then they fly back and do some work and they join the boat again and they kind of live this, kind of keep their land like one leg on land and one leg on the boat.
Okay.
Kind of. It seems to be kind of the new way of doing it. But I really love the fact that you guys. We
really jumped it both feet on the boat. Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. I think that's that makes it so much more special. With not having to keep one eye on your email and
we have really made like the conscious choice to not work and really enjoy it to the fullest. And maybe it's an experiment as well. Like so maybe when we really enjoy this lifestyle, then basically you have to find a way to combine like income with sailing, and then a half year on, half year off would be like a solution. But now it really feels like a complete luxury to be able to do this for 1.5 years. But we saved up a lot of a lot, and to be able to not have any like work-wise commitment.
So you can really enjoy the experience. You don't have to think about anything else than what you see around you and the weather and etc.
And boat jobs and
boat
because
jobs.
everything. So,
Live in the moment, the diesel fumes.
Yeah. Oh, and the
It's not-
seasickness. And
It's not all that romantic. No, that's true.
Not always.
No.
You guys have a very cool kind of theme going on as I look through your Instagram and with your little red hats and the name of your boat. You want to tell me the origin of that?
Basically we're both quite fans of Wes Anderson movies, and
I can tell, yeah.
we used to like even before we got into sailing, we one of our favorite movies was The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. And it's basically an homage and a like a persiflage, or how do you call it in English? Like a spoof on Jacques Cousteau, the French oceanographer who invented or perfected scuba diving, and it was really nice. And the guy is called Steve Zissou. So our first boat, it was a French boat. And Zissou kind of sounded French, so we stuck the decals on it with the font of the movie as well.
Oh, cool.
So it was called Zissou, and then we wanted to, like when we bought this boat, we wanted to keep it in line. And then Zissou sails on the Belafonte. It's a motorboat, so it's not
But
really
still,
okay, but it's a cool motorboat. So and it was steel, so we thought like, okay, Zissou 2 sounded a little bit off, so we called it Belafonte, and I think it's got a, like I don't know how the name came into existence, but Jacques Cousteau, on which the movie is based, sailed the boat is called Calypso, and Calypso is a type of music. And Harry Belafonte was called the King of the Calypso. So I think there might be some connection there.
Oh, so that's where that comes from.
I don't know if it's
Quite
true,
probable.
but it's quite probable that it's kind of that's why it's called the Belafonte. And we like the music of Harry Belafonte as well.
Perfect.
And so we dubbed it that name, and basically our like logo or like the fonts are already like in the style of the movie as well. Really, it's a really nice font, and it really feels like it's a little bit quirky, and but it oozes like maritime maritime life. So so that's why we and that's I guess how we started like our Instagram account as well, like just documented our travels and showing the good and the bad, and our refits and stuff we came up with to improve the boat, and to learn as well, because we only started sailing 10 years ago, and we did our courses. Like you were sailing for a long time, like but we did our like theoretical coastal navigation and Marcom B, or like a VHF license. So it's a lot of it was a steep learning curve.
I bet, it's a lot to learn. That's,
it's a whole like the boat in itself is a platform. But like the knowledge it takes, like you have to know your boat, but like navigation wise, and it's a nice it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, and never ending.
No,
never ending.
It's
learning
a
curves.
string of fuck ups.
Best way to
And
learn.
learning moments. Yeah.
Great. Well, this has been really fun to meet you guys and to hear about your plans and see your boat and everything. So thank you very much. I'm looking forward.
Really nice to have you on board here.
Thank you. Yeah, looking forward to following your travels, and it'll be fun to see where you end up in if you manage to get back in time for work. And,
and if we wash up on which shore, like
Who knows?
I think we'll be okay, but you never know.
I think so too. You guys seem pretty seem to have prioritized the safety and security of this with all your indestructible
Tank
pulse.
boat.
And,
Yeah.
so that would be fine.
Well, let's hope it's indestructible. But
Yeah.
and,
You should
let's hope
really-
not to get into situations that that we have to prove it's indestructible.
True, yeah. Touch wood.
Touch wood,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, August.
Huge thanks to the talented, hardworking, and handsome folks over at the Quarterdeck for sponsoring this season of On the Wind. Join the crew at 59-note.com/quarterdeck. On the Wind is the podcast about sailing, created by 59 Degrees North and hosted by me, August Sandberg, Andy Schell, and Emma Garshagen. The show is mixed and produced in Maryland by Lee Cumberland. Episode artwork and website show notes are done by Laura Parent in San Francisco. The intro theme music was written and performed by former podcast guest Cameron Dale, while the outro music you're hearing now is by our friends, the Storm Weather Shanty Choir, who have also been on the show. We love hearing from you, so please send us a note at holdfast@59-north.com, and you can also help us out a lot by reviewing the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. It really does help. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, hold fast.
And when me money was all gone on liquor and the whores, I made up me mind that I was inclined to go to sea no more. No more, no more, to go to sea no more. I made up me mind that I was inclined to go to sea no more. As I was walking down the street, I met sweet Angeline. She said, "Come home with me, me lad, and we'll have a cracking time." But when I awoke, it was no joke. I found I was all alone. My silver watch and my money too, and my whole bloody gear was gone. Was gone, was gone. My whole bloody gear was gone. It was when I awoke, it was no joke, for my whole bloody gear was gone. As I was walking down the street, I met Big Rapper Brown. I asked him if he would take me in, and he looked at me with a frown. He said, "Last time you was paid up with me, you talked up no score. But I'll take your advance and I'll give you a chance to go to sea once more. Once more, once more, to go to sea once more. I'll take your advance and I'll give you a chance to go to sea once more. Sometimes we're catching whales, me lads, but mostly we get none. With a 20-foot oar in every paw from 5 o'clock in the morn. And when daylight's gone and the night's coming on, we rest upon our oars. And oh boys, you wish that you was dead, or snug with the girls ashore. Ashore, ashore, or snug with the girls ashore. Oh boys, you wish that you was dead,
out with the girls ashore. Come all you seafaring lads that listen to me song. When you go a big boating, boys, make sure you do not go wrong. You take my tip when you come off a trip, don't go with any horse, but get married instead and have all night in bed and go to sea no more. No more, no more, to go to sea no more. Get married instead and have all night in bed and go to sea no more. No more, no more, to go to sea no more. Get married instead and have all night in bed and go to sea no more.